ways to retain Spanish is by using flashcards to help with your studying. I'm going to give you guys a couple of tips on how to use flashcards to be a better Spanish speaker. I have been doing it for a couple of months now, and I want to give y'all all the tea on how I've been improving my Spanish. Let's get into it. First, using flashcards to learn Spanish is going to help with retention and memorization, okay? It's going to help you be familiar with these words, acquire these words into your own vocabulary so that you are better at having conversations. That's why you want to use flashcards. This is usually when you are using flashcards, it's very quick. It's helping you learn something on, a very, when you're using flashcards, you're usually only putting a couple words on there. You're kind of like making formulas or just putting the translations of words to kind of get that memorized. So when you have these words in your head, you can add those into your conversations when you're speaking Spanish. Hola, buenos, me llamo daljiimarax. If you are new here, on this channel we do solo travel, but right now we learn in Spanish. So let's get into how you're going to actually break down the flashcards so that you can learn Spanish with them. This is how you're going to organize your flashcards when you are learning Spanish, okay? You're going to color coordinate them based on what the category is you are learning. So you're going to have a color specified for nouns, a color for phrases, a color for verbs. Okay, that's what you're going to start with. You're going to start with those few, and this is going to be very helpful for you in the beginning when you're trying to learn the best ways to retain these words, okay? If you keep each of these specific categories with this color, whenever you need to go back and practice, you already know which colors mean what, and it'll be less confusing than you trying to flip through a notebook of a whole bunch of different Spanish studying, okay, now you need to know how to practice these to actually retain the words that are on these flashcards. One of my favorite ways to do it is to practice with somebody else. But what you're not going to do, usually when you use flashcards and you're practicing it with somebody else, you're going to have somebody that is going to tell you the word in English and you figure it out in Spanish. No, do this instead. Have somebody describe the word that they are seeing in English, and then you try to guess what that word is in Spanish. Ejemplo. Okay, let's role play. I'm looking at a flashcard and I'm helping you learn your new Spanish vocabulary. The category right now is going to be food. So if I'm looking at the flashcard and I see in English the word bread, what I'm going to do is I'm going to describe bread to you, and you're going to have to guess what it is in Spanish. So if I say it's brown, it's soft, it's edible, you can warm it up. If you leave it out, it'll hard. Me describing to you is having your brain think, like, what does this look like? And once you figure it out that it's bread, how do I translate that into Spanish? This is one of my favorite ways to practice my new vocabulary, nouns, whatever it is, with other people. Now that you have memorized all of the words, you practice, you have it split up in your different categories. Now what you want to do is you want to figure out how you can incorporate these words into sentences, whether you're writing them down, whether you're speaking to someone else, whatever the case may be. It's not good enough to just learn a whole bunch of vocabulary words. You need to learn how to have a conversation. This is kind of like what we do in school when we're learning Spanish. We just learn a whole bunch of words and nouns and verbs. It's like none of this is helping me be a Spanish speaker. It's just helping me memorize a whole bunch of words that I can't put in a sentence. So when you get to a point where you are in a category and you are very comfortable knowing what these words are by heart in Spanish, how are you going to put that in a sentence? And try to keep it in a specific theme or category when you are doing it, so you're not jumping all over the place. So moving back to our example, if you are specifically working on vocab words for food, try to make sentences or speak in sentences revolving around food, talking about your favorite foods, talking about you need to go to the grocery store to get your favorite foods, ask people what their favorite foods are, maybe cooking and talking about foods. Think of it that way. So stay within specific categories and not trying to jump all over the place and do a whole bunch of random things. If flashcards are not enough for you and maybe you need help finding someone else to practice with, I have a video on a couple of different ways to learn Spanish under $50. And it might involve you, getting some help from someone else. Go check it out.